We keep rolling just in case some nuggets come out in the after chats, which sometimes sometimes turns into its own episode.
Yeah.
That was great.
No, that was
great,
good.
Neil.
You asked the questions that interweave. This is exactly this book I'm writing. It's the interweaving of all these concepts and how they all work together, right? Because each one individually, just like podcast is really powerful, but you add like content repurposing, you add like influencer. I mean, you could add SEO, but yeah, I think that's really where the power is going forward of being able to effectively pick and choose and strategizing on that. So
100%. There's no point in spending all the time creating one piece of content, putting it on a podcast feed and forgetting about it. There's so much more that can be generated from it.
Yeah.
But I think it's one of those things, and we keep repeating, and repetition is actually so important because it takes so long for things to sink in. Even on clients, even where like they said, "Oh, I've explained that in a video before." No, keep going, do it again. It's so important. And I think until that kind of clicks in your head, oh my God, I've created this 30-minute piece of content. We can actually use this in so many places. And it takes a long time for that to click. It took a long time for it to click in for me. It really is a mindset change that can have a powerful effect on any business, I think.
Yeah, without a doubt. It's just, content becomes the currency of digital media. So it's like, well, companies are the media. And I mean, yeah, they are. I don't like the way that sounds. I think it freaks out a lot of companies. It's more that you need content. Whatever you do in digital marketing today, you need content. It becomes a centerpiece of everything you do. So there's many different ways of creating content, but you need to be creating it. So if you need to be creating it, why don't you want to get the most out of every piece of content that you create? And that's really, that's the mindset shift that I think once companies get. I'm working with a big company now. They're a real estate company, one of the biggest ones here in the United States. And they do a lot of, the Canva type graphics that their agents have access to, but they don't have access to blog posts. They're curating from other places. So it's like, well, why don't we, we have agents that blog, right? We have writers, we have people that have like decades of experience in real. Let's bring them together, create an internal content team, and start to show up on Google searches, which we're not, and also show up in social. Give agents good content to share to help them build trust and relationships. It just it becomes so important on so many fronts. And I think once you get it, every company should have. I mean, the bigger the company, they should, but they should have like this internal content, team or content council or whatever it is.
It just makes sense.
It's every business, instead of the traditional marketing in the newspaper or the radio traditionally, or TV even as was done, now you just every business needs to be its own content creation agency.
Or get all the employees.
Or get someone to do it as well. But it really is just so important. The platforms will change, but I don't think that will. It's always been that way when you think about it. It's just now we actually have the means to be our own TV station, our own radio station, versus when there was a gatekeeper before.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just to put you on the spot, what are your digital marketing predictions for 2021?
Okay, I know where this is going.
We got it from you.
We start with you, Neil.
I don't like, I hate being the fortune teller because there's so much you can do today that few companies take advantage of. It's like, why are you caring about the future, right? Do you have a podcast? Do you have a okay. I do think that, I see a few things. I think that, the age of influence has only begun. That's number one. I think companies are going to find, they're going to also start redefining the influencers that exist around them and finding exciting and innovative ways to work with them to reach a number of different marketing objectives. That trend is going to continue. I think also we're going to see a shift of companies that put emphasis on social media to creating discoverable social media. And what I mean by that is, when you put content or create content for social, it's not really discoverable. The lifetime of a tweet is very short, of an Instagram post, But when we look at YouTube and when we look at podcasting, the lifetime of a content is very long. It can go on. I have podcast episodes from 2013. If they were going to subscribe to my podcast, it would start a process of downloading every single one of my episodes. And a lot of people start with the first episode from 2013. YouTube is the same. It's like Google, right? It's discoverable content. People go there looking for content, and they will watch videos from a few years ago. So I think that notion of a content becoming a true asset is why video and audio, YouTube and podcasting, I think more and more companies are going to start shifting more and more attention to, I think with podcasting, we're already seeing this new renaissance of companies that are trying to launch podcasts. I don't know how many are going to be successful. But I do think YouTube there's going to be a renewed interest, seeing that content does have that long, lifespan. So the other one is, I think influencer is going to be the social strategy. I think that long-term discoverable content shifting from social to YouTube podcasting is another strategy. I also think we're going to see more. I've been focusing more and more on, okay, we know the influencers of social media. We know the influencers of podcasting. We know the influencers of YouTube. What about the influencers of blog? So I get contacted all the time. Hey, I'd love to write for your blog. I write on these, whatever sites. And it's like, whatever, right? I don't really take them seriously. But recently, I was doing a SEO audit of one of my big competitors, and they were generating way more traffic than my website gets. And when I did a backlink analysis, they were just, they number one, were doing a heck of a lot of guest blogging, like a heck of a lot of guest blogging. And number two, they
as in their order was writing on other websites, and they were getting links back from the other blogs.
Correct. But I noticed that they were getting links back from really authoritative sites. And when I looked at the authors, it was a handful of authors that write for these sites that are obviously preferably giving this person links. So there's probably a little bit of link swapping that goes on, as we know that goes on in the industry. But when you think about it, those writers that have been reaching out to me that write for high domain authority websites, they're influencers, they're content creators. They are, if you treat them as influencers like the Kim Kardashians, they can achieve amazing results. Because as you know, you can write as much great content as you want, but once Google starts seeing that other people link to that content, that is when you start really shooting up in the search engine rankings, from my experience. So it's looking at guest blogging really strategically, but also forming relationships with writers, with content creators that write for various blogs and seeing them as influencers. I see it's actually something I'm going to be recording a podcast episode from. I was going to do it yesterday, but I did the podcast. That's going to be 2 weeks from now. But it's something I don't see a lot of people talking about. And I think we're going to start to see a shift there as well. I think a lot of it happens with they hire an SEO agency that's doing that work. But I think that this is almost something that a brand should have internal capabilities, because these are influencers. And then, hey, if you're going to hire someone, a freelancer, to write blog posts from you, why wouldn't you hire these people who then can also, we're people, you need to have external links. Google loves when you have external links. They show authority that, where did you get the information from? So you're probably going to be top of mind when they need an external link for something. They're going to remember you. I do it. If someone, I just want to say, I mean, I'm religious. If people don't, link back to my site, and I have guest bloggers and they want to link to theirs, I take out those links. I'm like, hey, it's a two-way street, right? But if people link to my site, I recognize that, and I try to share their content on Twitter. I try to generate backlinks when it makes sense to. Yeah. So it's all part of like relationships and networking. That's at the heart of influencer marketing. And like I said, it can be applied to blogging as well. I'll let you go, sir. Sorry about that.
It's funny. It's like 7 or 8 years ago. That is something I would have looked at a lot, was the link by link strategy, guest post blogging. And Google made changes to the algorithm, which definitely probably softened the effectiveness of reciprocal backlinks. So it's interesting that if you think that's coming back in a way, but I haven't. It's to us, it's something I haven't looked at in a very long time. We would do a lot of writing for niche keywords. We wouldn't actually focus on the backlinks and then get the rankings around the niche keywords we found in Google Ads that were converting. So it's interesting that that you think that's like at the end of the day, how does Google rank sites? Great content, who's linking into it? If it's really good links, they're going to push you up. That's pretty much been there from day one, and that'll be there till the end of days.
It's very old school, but it's saying, hey, should you spend your time there, or should you spend your time trying to create graphics on Canva for Instagram where there's no link, right? It's because I think that reciprocal links are natural. It happens over time. Yeah. So I think that a lot of people, and I don't know if the Google algorithm is like, oh, they just link back to each other of the billions of sites out there.
I don't think it's like that either.
Right. So you have to be, and I think it's all about the relevance. So I see like in SEMrush, my site has a better domain authority than this competitor, even though they get way more traffic. But, and I think maybe it's because they took this a little bit too far and they were getting links from sites that were irrelevant.
Yeah.
So what I'm focusing on, if they don't talk about marketing, I should not be on their site. If I look at, what are the keywords that are driving traffic? What do they have authority with in Google? And something related to my site's not on there. I don't care how high of domain authority they have. I think that's going to backfire. So I think that is probably more of what Google looks at is the relevance of those links. And when they find a mismatch, that's what sends up the red flag. And also, I just want to say, it's not just the link reciprocation. It's the fact that these writers write for many sites. That's how you avoid that, because they're like, oh, well, I'm going to, can I do a link swap? I get one from your site and then I'll get you one from this other site that I guest blog for. That's what I'm talking about. And that's what this person does, because they have a network of sites that they write for too. So it never looks reciprocal. They're coming from unique domains.
They're more of a journalist.
Yeah. So once you begin to do that as well, you begin to yield influence, so that when someone contacts you, if you write for 10 different sites and they write for 10 different sites, you can imagine you're basically doing link swap off of domains that you don't own. So it doesn't matter to you.
Okay. I think I picked you up wrong initially. Yes. Yeah. No,
yeah.
That's what this person is really smart. And once I did the analysis, it's like, I know it now. I get it. It made me look at writers and all that. It made me look at it very, very differently. And like I said, that is the key. I think a few, you get a few backlinks. You're trying to compete for first page. You get a few backlinks. I don't think it takes many either. A few relevant backlinks from pretty, decent, we're talking domain authority 50s, 60s, 70s. I think that'll do it for the extremely competitive keywords, no, but for a lot of keywords,
for a lot of niches, it's 100%.
Like the classic one. Oh, this is going back years now. Was when you search Google for click here, Adobe Reader was always first, because every link for people to download the Adobe Reader was click here.
And at the end of the day, Google doesn't care. You're going to get the rank. At the end of the day, you have to convert. When they come to your site, they need to stay on page a long time compared to the other results. At the end of the day, it's going to come down to your content. But I do think you're going to get more chances, because I see so much bad content that gets top Google rating from like 5 years ago. I'm like, why? Why is this outperforming me? It's the backlinks. That's the conclusion I've come to.
Oh, there's no doubt about how important backlinks are. I don't think that's ever under dispute. I think that, and it will always be the way it's that's the way they've measured the importance of content from pretty much day one. Like,
how else can you? People are talking about it, and it's got to be influential. It makes total sense. So anyway, so I'm excited to talk more about that. But those are my three things. I'm like 8 minutes before the hour, and I'm excited about this podcast.
Okay. Oh yeah. Well, we just got a second podcast out of it, I
think. Hey, it was nice getting to know the three of you. See you in the back. And let me know when it publishes so I can share with my audience, and we'll keep in touch.
Yeah, I'll send you over some clips and all of that, and pictures and everything.
In Dublin or in Cork? Are you in Cork?
Cork.
So the first time that I spoke at the Irish Management Institute, it was at the university there in Cork. It was at a hotel there. So I've actually been to Cork once. They have they had a partnership with that university. So one of my sponsor actually teaches there right now as well. It's a beautiful city. Love it there.
Yeah, Cork is lovely.
No, it's the
hotel that's right next to the river where you could
hear the Riverlea Hotel.
Yeah, Riverlea Hotel. Yeah, that's what it was. Great memories.
Yeah, it's a stunning hotel.
Well, if you're over again and COVID's gone, I'll buy you a whiskey on the nice little outdoor area they have outside overlooking the river.
Oh, nice. Well,
we'll begin the night with some Guinness, and then we'll move on to whiskey.
Yes. And there's
all right, thank you so much.
Pleasure, Neil. Take care, man.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.